everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have obviously a new look for you guys. It's a darker, smoky fall look, and I have been so inspired for fall. And the other day I did this for a anniversary dinner because my husband and I just celebrated 3 years of marriage, so that's pretty exciting. But I did this look for that dinner, and I thought, I love this look. I have to do a makeup tutorial on it. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please leave me a comment, like, or subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.
Alrighty guys, so I'm going to grab my Sonia Kashuk blending brush in my Morphe Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette with the light brown shade right there, and I'm going to put that in my crease and of course blend it out, but I'm going to put it generously in my crease about 3/4 of the way across my eye. I don't want to bring it all the way over to the inner corner. So I'm just going in windshield wiper motions and in circular motions like I always do. And I just want to get that to the consistency or the color that I want it to be. I don't want it to be too much, but then I don't want it to be too dull either. Then I'm going to grab my MB23 brush by Morphe, and I'm going to go over that, and that just helps kind of buff it out a little bit better. I never put any product on my MB23 brush. I like to just have it to where I can just blend away any harsh lines that I have on there with no product at all. So I'm sure it picks up a little bit of product, but I don't put any on there. So then in the next color I'm going to grab is the Morphe 350 palette, and I grabbed the reddish brown shade. You could probably see it whenever I was just talking a few minutes ago, but I'm putting that over. I'm going to be using a lot of crease shades in this. Again, I'm going to be using the MB23 brush to go over that and buff that out. And you can already see it just looks a little bit better and a little bit cleaner. And I'm going to be jumping back and forth between the 350 and the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette from Morphe. I just wanted to do that to create this look how I want it to be. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette. And now I'm going to put on the shade that I used on my eyelid. And I'm not generally a dark makeup kind of person. That's why it's been really hard for me to really want to come up with a fall inspired look. But oh my gosh, I love this. So I'm using the purple color that you see there. It's not exactly the darkest one and it's not the lightest one. It's kind of like the medium purple. And before I do that, I'm going to grab my Sephora translucent powder and I'm going to put that underneath my eyes with that big brush. I think it's the Morphe S22 brush. And I love that for setting my under eyes and for putting on the translucent powder, obviously. And I did that just because this eyeshadow does have a lot of fallout and I did not want it to already, you know, get all over my foundation that I had done previously. So I am just patting and then swiping that eyeshadow on, and I'm actually going to make a line up into my crease that you will be able to see. It's kind of a sharp line, but don't worry, I will get rid of that once I use my other crease color. And on this, I also did not bring it all the way into the inner corner. I left a small part where I did not put this eyeshadow because I want to go back with a small white white eyeshadow, to go into that inner corner just to brighten things up. Since it is such a dark look, I didn't want it to be too harsh. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit with some white colors. So now I'm going back to the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette, and I was using, it's kind of like a darker brownish purple, and I'm using that in my crease as well. And I'm putting that about 1/4 to 1/2 of the way in my crease. And then I'm obviously going to go back over it with the MB23 brush. But this, I'm mostly using this just to buff out that line that I had made from my eyelid to my crease. So, then after I do that, I'm going to jump back to the Morphe 350 palette. I'll do that here in a second. And I'm going to grab, it's like a darker brownish black charcoal type color. I don't really know how to describe it, but I will hold the palette up so that you can see. And of course using my Sonia Kashuk blending brush. So I'm going to focus mainly on the outer corner of my eye. I'm kind of dabbing it onto the outer crease and dabbing it onto the outer part of my eyelid right there. And this kind of brings the look together just a little bit better. It's not super dark, but it does accent the purple very well, I believe. And it's almost like a black cherry look. That's what this look reminds me of, is like a black cherry look. And like I was saying earlier, I'm not really a huge fan of using darker colors on my eyes, but I will definitely be using more. I usually just have a hard time finding out which crease colors I should use, because I feel like I can use like a darker shade onto my eyelid, but can never find a good crease color. So as you can see, I'm just wiping off that translucent powder with that S22 brush, kind of cleaning things up a little bit on the eye so it looks a little bit better. And now I'm going to grab my Sigma E65 brush, which has been my ride or die for my eyeliner. And I'm going to be using the Inglot AMC Gel Liner. And I had been using the Clinique Pretty Easy liquid liner for a while, but the only qualm I have about that is that it doesn't really dry matte. It still has kind of like a sheen to it, and I don't like that. So my AMC gel liner was kind of running out of, it was just dry, and so I didn't really use it. It was getting really hard to use, but as you can see, it's like going on like butter, and it sounds pretty counterintuitive, but I put on my makeup remover I mixed it in just a little bit with that gel liner, and as you can see, the results are fantastic because I barely have to stick my brush in and it just glides on perfectly. And it doesn't take away the color, and it still dries matte, which is exactly what I want. And it doesn't leave it all chunky or anything, which was the problem I was having when it was dry, because I could get a little bit of product, but it was still ending up dry. So as you can see, doing the winged liner, and I'm going to take that from usually just how I do my wing liner. And before I brought it all the way into the inner crease, I was putting on that white eyeshadow like I was talking about, kind of bringing it up slightly on the inner corner of that eyelid and also on the inner corner of my eye. And now I'm going to finish what I started with and keep on putting on my eyeliner. But as you can see, it just goes on perfectly, and I do love gel liner. I like liquid liner too, but I do love me a good matte gel liner. And the Maybelline gel liner I like, but it just isn't like a super dark, intense black that I usually like. So I do love the AMC gel liner because of that. But the only issue that I ever have with gel liners is that they get dry. And I don't even leave the cap off of them or anything. I usually put them back just how I had them. But yeah, working pretty good with the makeup remover. Doesn't take away from the black, obviously, as you can see. And so I'm just touching up places that needed to be touched up with my eyeliner. So now that I have that where I want it, I'm going to grab my Loreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. And if you see me jamming out or it looks like I'm talking to someone, it's because I am mouthing the words to music. I listen to music while I do it. I can't help it. I'm sorry, guys. So I already used my mascara, and now I'm going to grab the Ardell Wispies in the shade Black. And these are the Demi Wispies. And as you can see, I'm curling them. I curl them twice in my Revlon curler. So now I'm going to go ahead and put those on my eyes. And I don't generally use fake lashes that often, just because they are fake. And I don't like any part of me to really look fake. I mean, I know that with makeup, you're kind of looking not necessarily like yourself, but I just feel like with fake lashes, they're too obvious. But I do love these because they are a more natural look. They're wispy. They're not super long and super ridiculous. And for a drugstore brand, I feel like they're pretty good. So now I have the Duo Adhesive Gel or the glue, and I'm going to put a thin line, not the thinnest line ever, but a pretty thin line. I don't want it to be goopy, but I want it to have enough glue that it will definitely stick without moving. So as you can see, that's the line that I ended up with. Now, I ended up grabbing the wrong eyelash for the wrong eye, so that's why there was that little skip there, but now I have it. So I just kind of place it where I want it to be, and then I grab my tweezers, and then I kind of set it where I want it to be. So I kind of guesstimate whenever I put it on my eye with my hand, and then with the tweezers, I kind of push it in as close to my eyelashes as possible. so that I get the most natural looking look without it being super obvious that they're fake. And I just used the back end of my tweezers just to kind of push it down just a little bit, because I notice, especially with the inner crease of the eyelashes, that little band right there just doesn't want to stick as well even if I push it in. So sometimes I kind of push it down a little bit with the end of my tweezers. So while I'm waiting for that glue to dry, because you can still obviously tell it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and shape my eyebrows. I'm using the Brow Power eyebrow definer from IT Cosmetics. That's what it is. And I'm just kind of filling in the spots that need to be filled in. I'm not going to go crazy with this. I usually never really do my eyebrows that much, just because I am trying to grow them out to the shape that I want them to be. And it's really hard with trying to get them even, because my eyebrows have been kind of jacked up. And even whenever I do my brows, I sometimes still don't even get them even. So you could, like in this video, my eyebrows, I can honestly say probably aren't super even, but I tried my best. It's just hard for me to get my brows even whenever they are naturally uneven. And I know you're just kind of like, well, just fill in the spots that are uneven, but then it's like super obvious, and I don't like that. So obviously just filling in a few spots. And what I like about this this Brow Power pencil is that it's not super dark. Like, if I press on it, it gets dark, which is what I like. But if I do like small little swiping motions, it doesn't put a whole lot of product, so I don't have to worry like, oh my god, I put too much on, I have to redo it. So I do like being able to just kind of do that. So now I'm just kind of shaping it to where it needs to be, and then I will set that with the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyelash or eyebrow glue. Alrighty. But it is amazing what a difference that brows can do. Like whenever you're doing your makeup, it just makes the look like pull together. It's so crazy. So I have been doing it more often. It's not that I don't just ever like skip out on it. It's just that it's hard for me to get it exactly how I want it to be. Alright, so now that I have that the way that I want it to be, I'm going to grab the eyelash. Oh my god, why do I keep saying eyelash? The eyebrow glue from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I got a lot of these products from my sister-in-law, so I don't want y'all to just think like, oh, she's got so much money, she's out blowing so much money on all these makeup products. But no, I got a lot of these from my sister-in-law that she didn't want the products anymore. So I get to try these products, and they're pretty fantastic. I haven't really compared this to the Anastasia Beverly Hills pencil, but I imagine that it's still pretty good. Okay, so that's my victory. I did my eyebrows the way I want. So now I'm going to just grab that white eyeshadow that I put in my inner crease and just slightly put that on my brow bone. And then I realized that I needed to grab my eyebrow glue. So I will do that. I don't know why every time that I get something right or the way that I like it, I have to look at the camera and do like a little facial dance. I honestly don't know why, but it's something that I do, so I hope it doesn't annoy you guys or make you think like, oh, she's conceited. It's just like I have like this little victory thing where I'm just like, oh yeah, I did it, girl. Yes. All right. So now that I'm done with that, that completes that eye look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut off the camera once I get done with my eyebrows. Actually, no, I'm going to put on the Clinique Pretty Easy liquid liner over the spots that I feel like you could tell where the glue was. And then I'm going to turn off the camera and then do the other eye. So that's probably my only qualm with the Duo Adhesive Gel, or Duo Adhesive Glue, is that I feel like you can still kind of see where it was even once it's dried. And what I'm doing right here is I'm just making sure that my eyelashes and the fake eyelashes are pressed together so that they look as real as possible. And then I'm just basically going over that band and darkening it up so that you can't tell that they're fake. Ta-da! Okay, so before I actually cut off the camera, I forgot that I'm actually going to show you what I did underneath my eyes. I'm going to grab my flat pencil brush from Morphe. I cannot remember for the life of me what the name is, but I'm using that darker purple brown shade that I used in my crease for, I believe, like the third color. And I'm just going to put that underneath my eyes, only on the outer corner. I'm going to bring it slightly inward, probably to like the middle of my eye, but not necessarily all the way. So then after I do that, I'm going to grab another Morphe brush, and it is a super small pencil brush. I will link it in the description below, and I'm just going to buff that out slightly. I just don't want it to be super harsh. I want it to be a little bit smokier, so I'm going to kind of buff that out. And then I will use my Loreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara to coat my eyelashes underneath. And lately I have been using, I think it's the Unique mascara, I cannot remember, for my eyelashes. And I gotta say, that makes your bottom lashes look so long and so pretty, but for some reason I could not find it for this video, so I do apologize, but it is very pretty. Maybe in my next video that I use, I can show you what it looks like. So once I have that done, then I'm going to turn off the camera like I was saying earlier and stop recording so that I can show you the finished product and move on to my face. Alright, so now I'm back and I don't look completely crazy because I actually have both of my eyes done. Now I'm going to use the Aesthetica Cosmetics contour kit with the brush that it came with, and I'm going to contour. And I've been contouring just a little bit differently lately as far as my technique goes. And I am kind of, you can see, patting and dragging, but not necessarily like swiping. And then once I actually have the product on there, then I'm gonna go over it back and forth, or just kind of swipe up like I was talking about. And I feel like that just makes it look a little bit better. And then I will go back to the patting, and I just feel like that makes it stand out just a little bit more. Heck yes. All right. Again on the other side, and then I will obviously do it on my temples and then kind of on my jawline. Alright, so now that I have that all done on my jawline, I'm going to jam out for a quick second, and I'm going to grab the Becca Jaclyn Hill's collaboration palette, the Champagne collection, and I'm going to be using a mixture of amaretto and pamplemousse. So as you can see, I am just swiping over both of those all at once. And I got both sides of this brush coated, and it is very beautiful. I don't want it to be super pink, but I don't want it to be super dark either, so that's why I did that. I like using a mixture of both of those colors. I feel like it's very pretty, very feminine, but it's also got like a fall look to it as well, because it does have that amaretto in it, but then it's still just a little bit springy to a point where it's very girly still. So I'm using that S22 brush just to kind of wipe away a little bit of the blush because I feel like I kind of went overboard with it. So now I'm going to grab my Prosecco Pop. Okay, so between Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop, I love Champagne Pop first. But then I started using Prosecco Pop more, and oh my god, I fell in love with Prosecco Pop. I don't know if it's like just grown on me or if my skin tone is just different, but I have been loving Prosecco Pop like crazy. And the brush that I'm using, I believe it's the Morphe 501 brush. I'll have to double check. I don't want to steer you guys wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I'm using. And then once I have both of those coated, then I'm going to put just a little bit of Champagne Pop over it. But I do love Prosecco Pop. Champagne Pop is more my summertime spring color, and then Prosecco Pop is more like a little bit darker, but it still gives that highlight that I want. Obviously putting that on my cheekbones, my nose, and then I'm putting that on my Cupid's bow. I feel like Champagne Pop does help glow it up a little bit more, but sometimes I don't want a super drastic highlight, which I know that kind of sounds crazy. And then I'm just ever so slightly putting a little bit on my forehead and on my chin. Alrighty. So now I'm going to be moving on to my liquid lipstick. I'm using the NYX Liquid Suede in the shade Vintage. This is a very pretty shade, especially for fall. I feel like it just kind of ties the look together a little bit. It kind of just gives that vampy feel, but not necessarily vampy, just more like black cherry vibrant, and I do like that look a lot. It matches my eyeshadow. And you can see that I'm not exactly putting it on the outer edges yet. I wanted to get the inner part of my lips coated first. I know that kind of sounds crazy, but if I just kind of go all full force with it, then it doesn't work as well. I like to put the majority of the product on the inner part and then kind of go use the small amount that's left and kind of line around my lips, because I feel like if I don't do that and I use too much product, then it gets super chunky on the outer edge and then you got like this chunk line, and I don't like that. And I will go back over it just so that everything is correctly, it's got like the right amount of coverage and there's no blotchy spots. But I'm extremely OCD with my eyeliner and my lips. Like, they have to be lined perfectly. There's nothing more that I hate than watching like a makeup tutorial, and it's so beautiful. Like, a makeup tutorial could be so beautiful, and then someone like has like this weird thing to their eyeliner that it's like just like rigidy. I can't handle it. Like, I will still think the look is beautiful, but I'm just like, their eyeliner, it's off. I can't stand it. But that's just me. Eyeliner is not a super easy thing to do. It takes a lot of practice to do. And sometimes I'm not even that good at it. But I do try to get my lines as even as possible. I don't want there to be any inclination that it's jaggedy whatsoever. And what I do love about this liquid lip is that it dries matte, which is really nice. I do like the more matte look. And then I do like with their lip creams that they dry matte as well. See, I got like a little speck just slightly outside the line of my lips, and I could have just went over it. It wouldn't have made a difference, but it bothered me, so I had to fix it. But anyways, that completes this look. I hope you guys liked it a lot. Please let me know if you like it, if you want to see more fall-inspired tutorials. I know winter is coming up, and that means more dark, more, wintry looks, I guess. So I hope y'all liked. Please leave me a comment, like, or subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video.